In this video, we're going to be talking about the best hearing aids on the market as of 2025 within a specific subcategory, and that is the over-the-counter hearing aid category. So if you're looking for over-the-counter hearing aids, ones that you can buy without going to a local doctor's office, this is the video that you'll want to watch. We're going to talk about the best over-the-counter hearing aids on the market across several different budgets and styles. We're also going to talk about my personal experience wearing each one of them, along with the experience of our customers at Soundly.com. So if you're looking for a place to get smart on OTC hearing aids for 2025, this is the video for you. If we haven't met yet, my name is Blake Cadwell. I'm the co-founder at Soundly.com. Soundly.com is one of the leading independent sellers of over-the-counter hearing aids in the United States. We're also a destination for a lot of other hearing health related research, including prescription hearing aids. We have a very popular online hearing test and a lot of other content that you might need to get smart as you are making a purchase decision. If you like what you see today, we'd appreciate if you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps this video reach more people. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get into it. Before we get into the list of the best over-the-counter hearing aids on the market in 2025, let's just take a step back and talk about this category more broadly. The over-the-counter hearing aid landscape is relatively new. It became an official category thanks to the FDA in late 2022. But even though it's only been a couple of years, since that time, there have been a lot of new entrants into this category. Now, the FDA and Congress initially created this new category of devices because they wanted to make hearing aids more accessible. Typically, if you go into a local doctor and you get hearing aids prescribed by a local audiologist, you'll pay somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000 for a pair of devices. The over-the-counter hearing aid market is much more affordable, with a lot of the brands that we'll talk about today at $700, $800, $900, and some as low as $200 or $300. Now, if you're just getting started in your research, you might wonder if you're a good fit for over-the-counter hearing aids. And the fastest way to find out is to head over to Soundly.com and take our hearing test. You'll get back a hearing chart, which will show the severity of your hearing loss across different frequencies. If most of your chart is in the mild or moderate category, you should be just fine for over-the-counter hearing aids. They'll give you enough amplification to treat your hearing loss. If most of your frequencies are in the severe or profound categories of that chart, then you'll probably want to go to a local doctor where they have the ability to turn up the volume even louder, which will ultimately treat your more significant level of hearing loss. We have a full video on the decision between going prescription or going over the counter, which I'll link somewhere up here. Now, over the last year, I've personally spent time wearing over 50 different models of hearing aids. I've also interacted with thousands of visitors to Soundly.com who've given us their feedback wearing various brands. All of that has led us to the list of brands that we're going to talk about in this video today. And speaking of brands, we're breaking this review into 3 categories. We're going to talk about our 2 favorite behind-the-ear hearing aids, our 2 favorite in-the-ear hearing aids, and our 2 favorite affordable hearing aids, which come in at just a couple $100s. So let's just dive into the list and start talking about the best over-the-counter hearing aids on the market. The first category that we'll talk about are the 2 best behind-the-ear hearing aids on the OTC market as of the time of this recording. As the name indicates, behind the ear hearing aids simply sit behind the ear. So this piece sits behind the ear, the little speaker that goes inside of the ear and plays sound. This is the most popular style of hearing aids across care methods. So whether you go to a doctor or you're buying online, most people will end up with a style of hearing aids like this. That's because they tend to be the most comfortable in the ear. They leave a little bit more openness in your ear canal and allow more natural sounds to come in. And they also have advanced features like rechargeability and Bluetooth, which are less common in the really small in-ear devices, which we'll talk about in just a second. So we've tested dozens of OTC behind-the-ear hearing aids, and there are 2 clear winners in the market as of today. Our favorite overall behind-the-ear hearing aid in the OTC market is the Sennheiser All Day Clear. It's made by Sonova, which is the manufacturer of Phonak and Unitron hearing aids, which you would find at a local clinic. So essentially, it's coming off the same factory line as these premium in-clinic brands, but you get access to it at a much lower price and with the convenience of setting the whole thing up at home using your smartphone. Now, as with all of these brands, we have a full review of Sennheiser All Day Clear, which we'll link up here. But what's important to note is that Sennheiser All Day Clear hearing aids are rechargeable. They offer Bluetooth streaming for both iPhone and Android, and they're programmed using your smartphone. Now, one of the things that we really love about the All Day Clear is that the app setup is one of the simplest that we've seen across the entire market. You listen to a number of real conversations and you pick the one that sounds the best to you. It's also designed by Sonova, which is the largest hearing health company in the world. They really understand both the science and the practicalities of what makes a pair of hearing aids really work well. The one drawback to the Sennheiser All Day Clear is that the charge case does not carry a charge, so you have to have it plugged in while you're charging your hearing aids. For most folks, this is not a big deal, but it is a drawback as you look at this particular product. Our second pick for the behind the ear style is the Lexie B2 Plus powered by Bose. So again, this is a consumer audio brand in partnership with a hearing health company, Lexie. They manufacture this product. It has a very similar style, sits behind the ear, speaker plays sound into the ear, has great sound quality, slightly less mature in certain cases than the Sennheiser All Day Clear, maybe not surprisingly given where Sennheiser All Day Clear comes from. But in general, we find this is a really strong product. The strengths of the Lexie B2 Plus that even surpass the Sennheiser All Day Clear are that the app gives you almost unlimited customizations. You use a smartphone app that essentially gives you an open wheel that you can turn up bass and treble and volume. You can set programs. You really can become your own DJ with this particular hearing aid. If you're someone who prefers a simpler setup process and likes the idea of having a Sonova-made product, then we'd recommend going with the Sennheiser All Day Clear. Just like Sennheiser All Day Clear, these are rechargeable devices. In this case, they do come with a portable power bank, so if you take this with you, it'll actually charge your hearing aids without being plugged into the wall. And Lexie B2 Plus hearing aids stream through both Android and iPhone. Now, a bit of a technicality here, the Lexie B2 Plus hearing aids stream through the accessibility settings in your iPhone and Android instead of the general Bluetooth section. So it takes a little bit more to set these up, but it's still very manageable. Now, it's worth noting that with any over-the-counter hearing aid that we talk about today, if it's sold through Soundly.com, your purchase comes with a complimentary setup call with an audiologist. So they'll get on the phone with you, talk you through the whole setup process, talk to you about fine tuning and optimizations. You'll be pushing the buttons, but we can help support you in that initial setup. So to recap this first section, if you're someone who just comes up to us on the street and you ask, what are the best over-the-counter hearing aids on the market? We're very likely going to point you towards the most popular style, which would be behind the ear, and we'd probably point you towards the Sennheiser All Day Clear or Lexie B2 Plus. But in many cases, people want a device that sits inside their ear. So that brings us to the second category of products that we're going to talk about today, and that is in-ear devices. And these are our top two favorite in-ear devices on the market. Our number one favorite at this point is the Sony CRE-C20. It's a new product as of 2024. It is in the ear, as the name indicates. When you put it inside of your ear, really nearly disappears. If you look right down my ear canal, you might see a bit of a shadow, but in general, this product sits deep inside the ear canal. It also has rechargeable batteries and a portable charge bank that you can take with you wherever you go. Since this product launched in the late summer of 2024, we've fit a lot of folks in this new C20 from Sony, and most folks have been really, really happy with it. The one major drawback to an in-ear style like Sony CRE-C20 is that it is not a Bluetooth streaming device. So you'll need to have a separate pair of headphones that you pop in when you're taking phone calls, or put your phone on speaker or hold it up to your hearing aid versus streaming through your hearing aid, which you have access to through a behind the ear hearing aid like Sennheiser or Lexie. A couple other things that we love about the Sony CRE-C20 is that it's manufactured by WS Audiology, which is the second largest maker of hearing aids in the world. So just like Sennheiser, who's made by Sonova, Sony is actually made by WSA, which makes lots of prescription devices, including Signia and Widex devices that you would find in a local clinic. So there's a bit of a pattern emerging in the industry where the top prescription makers are entering the over-the-counter market with these self-fit devices that you use a smartphone to program, launching them under consumer names, but really using the same core technology. And that's one of the reasons that we like this product a lot. It's coming from a very credible and stable company that we know is not going anywhere and in general is really good at what they do. Again, we've got a full review of C20, which you can check out up here, all of the features and the benefits of this particular product. Our second choice for the best in-ear OTC is Eargo 7. Now this product's a little bit more expensive. Typically it'll cost around $2,500 versus the Sony product, which is just right around $1,000. But it does have a modern design, which a lot of people like. And it has this really interesting feature, which is this lightweight ear tip, which makes the product feel a little bit like it's floating in your ear and generally lets in a little bit more outside sound. In some ways, Eargo is striking a balance between the comfort you get with a receiver and canal hearing aid and the in-ear discretion that you're getting with something like Sony CRE-C20. A lot of people really like the sensation that this product is simply just floating in their ear, giving them some additional sound. When it comes to actual sound quality, we think that Sony CRE-C20 and Eargo are generally about the same. They both manage background noise and sudden sounds. So the decision that you're making is primarily based on price and then the way that it actually fits in the ear. They're about the same size, they're about the same visibility, but Eargo just floats in your ear just a little bit more, whereas C20 sits in your ear a bit more snugly. Both Eargo and Sony use smartphone apps to program the actual devices. And again, if you purchase through soundly.com, we'll get on a call with you and help you go through that setup process if you get stuck at any point along the way. Okay, so let's dig into the final category of the best over-the-counter hearing aids in 2025. And we're going to be looking specifically at products that cost less than $500. Now, this is something that we spent a ton of time on in 2024. We tried dozens of products on the lower end of the price spectrum, including products that just cost $100 off of Amazon, products that cost a couple of $100 directly from brands' websites, and ultimately we found consistently frustrating performance. I was not able to wear most products for more than 30 or 40 minutes without becoming frustrated and simply taking them off. When you read reviews, you find that a lot of people have similar experiences with these really low-cost products. If you just search hearing aids on Amazon, you'll find a bunch of products like this, but if you look into the reviews, a lot of people are frustrated. Now, there's some folks in the industry who say this is just too inexpensive for a pair of hearing aids. The quality drop-off is really around that $700 or $800 mark. But we know that a lot of folks are really looking for a product that's under $500 to match their budget. And so thankfully, after a lot of searching this last year, we found two products that we think are pretty interesting to check out if budget is a particular constraint in your situation. So the first is the Elehear Beyond. Now, Elehear Beyond has a similar form factor to what you've seen with Sennheiser or Lexie. It's a behind the ear form factor, very comfortable inside the ear, pretty discreet. It's a little bit larger than what you'd find from Sennheiser or Lexie, but in general looks about the same behind the ear. And when I first tried Elehear hearing aids about a year ago, I tried an old version called the Elehear Alpha Pro, and I didn't feel like it was quite ready for prime time. It didn't handle sudden sounds very well, and it had this sort of persistent buzzing, which became really annoying to me. So at the time, we didn't include it on any of our best of lists. But Elehear rolled out a new version of their product called Elehear Beyond, and they addressed a lot of the concerns that I had with the last round. Now the product is just $399. It has this popular form factor. It streams media through Androids and iPhone, and it has a really robust app, which allows you to make all kinds of customizations to the sound that you're hearing. Interestingly, it also has a tinnitus masking feature inside the app, which is not available through any other OTC hearing aid that we've talked about today. So if tinnitus is a primary concern, Elehear Beyond could be a really interesting hearing aid to take a look at. Now, in general, we found that the performance, the management of background sounds, the management of sudden sounds was so much better with Elehear Beyond than anything else we found at this price point. This really is our leader under $500. We think it's a pretty good option for all the folks that have purchased this product through soundly.com and gone through our setup process. We've gotten really, really good feedback. A few people have returned and decided to go with something a little bit more premium ultimately, but most people have been really happy, especially those folks who didn't have more than that $500 to spend. The other budget option as of late 2024 is actually a product that you might already have in your home, and that is AirPods Pro 2. So this is a pair of earbuds that's been out for a couple of years from Apple, very popular. Millions of Americans have it as a pair of headphones. But in October of 2024, just a few months ago, Apple rolled out a software update, which effectively makes your AirPods Pro 2 into a pair of entry-level hearing aids. Now, we have a full review on the setup process and my overall thoughts on how it performs, which we'll link up here. But the cliff notes are that AirPods Pro 2 is pretty good at managing simple background noise settings. So if you just need to boost speech in a quiet setting, maybe you're with your partner or you want to watch the TV, but you don't want it to be that loud, this product could work really well for you. The onboarding flow is really beautiful. There's an onboard test, which is available through your phone and using the AirPods Pro 2. And then ultimately the devices in hearing aid mode do a pretty good job of managing background noise. In general, I find that they're just a little bit muddier than traditional hearing aids, but they still give a lot of boost to overall volume. Now, we haven't seen a lot of folks switching to AirPods Pro 2 as their primary hearing aid, and maybe that's kind of obvious. When you wear AirPods Pro 2, people can see that you're wearing AirPods and may wonder if you're with them in conversation or you're streaming something or listening to music. This is a perception that maybe will change over time, but at this point, we don't hear about a lot of people who are going to dinner parties while wearing their AirPods. We also find that the product is not quite as comfortable for multiple hours of wear, and it doesn't have enough battery to go beyond 5 or 6 hours. So if you're someone who's going to wear hearing aids all day long, as I do, you probably end up with one of the other brands that we've talked about here today. Still, If you have a pair of AirPods Pro 2 at home, or you've been thinking about getting one as a pair of headphones, definitely turn on these features and give them a listen. It'll give you at least a sense of what amplification can sound like coming into your ears through a pair of devices. So ultimately, after trying 50 plus hearing aids, some in really affordable categories, mid-price categories, and then all the way up to expensive options that you might find at a local clinic, here are a couple of tips for your shopping experience. First of all, get a good sense for your own hearing loss. You can take our hearing test, you can go into a local clinic and get a hearing test, but get a good sense if you're in that mild to moderate category or if you have more severe or profound hearing loss. If you want us to give you a second opinion on your hearing test, either through soundly.com or somewhere else, let us know and we're happy to have our audiologist take a look and chat through that with you. If you're brand new to all of this and you're just looking for a place to get started, I would recommend that you actually start with Sennheiser, which is our favorite behind the ear hearing aid, and Sony, which is our favorite in the ear hearing aid. Compare them feature for feature, take a look at the reviews, think about how you will use the hearing aids in your day-to-day life, and if you need that space behind your ears free, or if you're comfortable with something behind your ears. Ultimately, if you watch the reviews on these two products and get a sense for how they work, you'll have a pretty good sense for how to move forward, either with these products or with something similar. As I mentioned earlier in this video, soundly.com is one of the leading independent sellers of OTC hearing aids in the United States. One of the reasons that people like to work with us is that hearing health is all we think about, and we take really good care of our customers. If you purchase hearing aids through us, whether it's Elehear or Sennheiser or Bose or Eargo or Sony, your purchase comes with a complimentary setup call with an audiologist where we'll help walk you through the setup process. You can also talk to our team before you purchase if you're just looking for some advice on which product might be right for you. We talk to thousands of people about hearing aids and hearing health, and if you have questions, there's a good chance we've heard that question before and we'll be happy to help you get to the final decision. If you have questions, thoughts, or if we missed a brand, we'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And we wish you the best in your research.